What part of the human experience is of zero interest to you? Going to clubs. You know what I learned from clubs? Conversation is what makes me appealing. I am doomed to failure at clubs. You know what I learned from clubs? I don't like going to clubs. You know what I learned? Migraines. You know what I learned? If you go too early, they don't bother with the entrance fee. Having a wedding. Getting married. Yes. But I just can't see myself going through with the planning of the wedding and being happy about it. Even on the day. I do like going to other people's weddings though. It's the only time I feel comfortable in a dress. Best part. You are in charge of your own wedding. If you want a casual dress and a fuckload of Taco Bell, everyone else can deal with it or not come. Having kids. I cannot begin to even imagine the pain of having to push a fucking basketball-sized human out of my vagina. Nor do I want to. And I'm a hardcore masochist. Edit. Okay, I may not know the exact measurements of a baby. Chasing money. I just want to have enough for a comfortable life. I can't be bothered to keep wanting more and more. Fucking thank you. My partner is dead set on becoming a millionaire by age 50 and 80% of what we talk about is money and finances. It drives me absolutely crazy. High school reunions. I feel like those will become obsolete now that social media exists. It's a big part of high school reunions is seeing where people ended up. Instagram, monsieur, I don't get it. See, I don't understand following like 500 people and stuff like that. I follow about 50 people that I'm actually generally interested in what they're up to cause they're close friends. Greater than 50 people, greater than close friends, I don't understand. Trying to impress someone. Either we get along or we don't, and if it's not for you, it doesn't really bother me. One night stands. Admittedly still a virgin, but the mere thought of fucking for the sake of fucking leaves me empty and sad inside, and so I'd rather not. Yeah, I tried a one-night stand once. Because I was bored, lonely, horny, found someone willing. It felt wrong on a fundamental level. I enjoy sex as much as the next person. But if I don't have a connection with someone, it's not happening. Lesson learned. Ah, that kinda makes me sad, and it's cute at the same time. Coming from someone that is a bit of a slut. The best sex has always been with the most comfortable people. Keep doing you. You'll have the opportunity to experience intimacy with someone very special. Which is very cool. Aging. I fucking hate this. I hate growing hair in places and losing hair on my head. It's gross. Childbirth, fuck that shit ever again. People say, oh, you'll forget once you see the baby. Bullshit. 10 out of 10. Worst pain of my life and worst experience so far. Oh, you'll forget once you see the baby. That shit just got out of a vagina. It's covered in nasty fluids. It's still attached to the source with a meat hose. Looks like a creature that came from the deep ocean, where the only light source is a demon fish with a lantern full of nightmare fuel in its forehead. And it's crying. Yep. No thanks. The final product is okay, though. It's really starting to sink in that in a few weeks, if he waits until he's supposed to, that this thing that keeps putting a foot under my ribs is going to be exiting in the most unpleasant way. Even worse knowing that his father popped out at 10 pounds. Oh boy, death. This dude's face when his username is the clear answer. Getting into physical altercations of any kind. I think I shoved a bully in middle school, but I'll be happy if that ends up being it. For some reason society makes boys think this is something you need to do. No interest. I absolutely hate the idea of inflicting pain onto others. Small talk. Just imagine how good it'd be if no one felt the need to do small talk. Welcome to Finland then. We don't really do small talk here. Silence is better option than talking nonsense. Bodily functions. I don't care for them. They're gross and inconvenient. If only we didn't have to deal with them, I feel my life would be ever so slightly easier. Oh, and I hate the whole societal norms thing. It's weird and I don't like how it affects us so much. Overall gross and sometimes inconvenient. But I do enjoy having an excuse to escape to the bathroom during work or social gatherings for a moment of silence and regrouping. petting large wild predatory animals. That's part of the human experience? Yeah, it's right up there with bonking others on the head with a tube. Smoking weed. Weed is the only thing getting me through this quarantine. It gives me a different perspective on things every time I smoke JT. And also stupid ideas, like how cool it would be to jog through 48 states. I'm an awful runner. The quarantine I can totally do, as I'm a child-free introvert. This isn't quarantine, it's vacation. However, weed is the only thing getting me through this whole stage 4 cancer thing. Traveling with friends or family. I'm a pretty hardcore introvert and constantly having to compromise because this person is a cheap ass, or doesn't want to go here there and having to deal with their neurotic bullshit. I don't want to do it anymore. If I ever have the money, I'm traveling solo and it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I agree a lot with this. There is always someone who's tired of walking or doesn't want to stay in that hotel. I'm not interested in that shit. Childbirth without medication. Haven't had my baby yet. Has to be a C-section, which makes the medication part easy. But wow, the market for natural births astounds me. I don't know what Kool-Aid is being passed around or why there's a stigma against drugs. But yikes, you're pushing a ginormous object through a small space. Just because we haven't been able to do that safely with medication until recently, doesn't mean that it's the gold standard. Sure, I get being curious. I'm curious, and I get trying it. I might even try it for a bit next time. And I definitely understand being proud of being able to do it. But sheesh. If it sucks and you don't like it, please get the medication and don't be ashamed. If you aren't interested in trying it, don't be ashamed. I feel like any other medical process can be an analogy. Sure, amputations used to happen without medication. And I guess if you're interested you could go for it, but you don't need to. And you certainly shouldn't feel bad capitalizing on the benefits of modern medicine to do things. I am upvoting UBC. I patiently explained exactly these points to my daughter when she was pregnant. She's tiny, petite, and weighs maybe 90 pounds. She called me one evening TT me about her exploring natural childbirth, meaning mostly a vaginal birth with no epidural. I said, look, you will scream your fucking head off, beg to die, and you'll be in a brutal unnecessary pain. There's a goddamn reason that Queen knighted F. King Doctor back in the 1800s. Quote, after the Queen finally allowed a doctor to administer her whatever he did. So she went WNEPI. Well, here I go. My oldest was born during the natural phase. I was trying to be brave. Really. I was. 3 hours before she was born, the greatest nurse in the world said, honey, what are you trying to prove to yourself? Let me get you an epidural. I love that woman. 30 years later. 3 more epidurals after that. Don't be a saint. Getting drunk, smoking, getting high. Not worth the effort, money, nor the impact on my health, considering the effect I want to achieve by them should be obtained by the way I live, not with a substance. Same. I've been going to family parties since I was younger and watching my extended family get so wasted. They're practically useless. I've truly grown to hate alcohol. And by extension, I have no interest in the other mind-altering substances. Same. But for me it is that I simply hate it when I catch my brain not working as it should. That's why I never drink more than the equivalent of 2 beers. I can without a doubt say school was probably the worst human experience of my life. ADHD has been an obstacle in my life for as long as I can remember. My mind could never settle on the thought for longer than 5 seconds before it would start wandering off with the topic, looking for alternate perspectives, running through different possible outcomes to see if my mind was satisfied with this piece of information entering my brain. By the time I had digested all this information, I would look up and see the class was already on the next topic, which could have been anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute later. This would result in me having to try catch up while the lesson would go on without me. leaving me with an augmented version of the lesson that my brain mutated into existence. Of course, asking the teacher to repeat herself 20 times in one lesson is a lot, right? So I would keep quiet and slowly develop insecurities about myself, thinking thoughts like, will people think I'm stupid if I stop the teacher from teaching again so she can re-explain something she just spent 10 minutes going through? Am I potentially disrupting my fellow students' educations because my dumb ass can't remember the difference between 2 and 2? Most of my teachers couldn't understand how my mind worked and would eventually give up on me, move me to the back of the class and forget about me. Now I'm sitting back here thinking about what people are thinking about me, and what I'm thinking about them. Monsieur, next thing the teacher says we have a test coming up based on this lesson, and I can't even tell you what the heading of the chapter is. It was single-handedly the worst and longest experience of my life and can easily be compared to spending 12 years in jail. When the modern-day school system was done with me, I entered the adult world feeling stupid, scared and less prepared than my peers who could soak up all the information that my brain just couldn't get to. Fortunately for me, I ended up finishing school with a 68% aggregate, which was good enough for my high school diploma that I achieved purely through general knowledge, as I couldn't pick up a book and study either. Anyway, ran over. After now reading back over this brain fart, I realize I may have wandered off topic a little. But what can be taken away here is that this is what suffering with ADHD in school looks like and feels like. The modern-day school system does not work for people like me, and it's something that should be rectified because we are losing brilliant minds every day. In conclusion, school was of zero interest to me. I'm sorry you had such an awful experience. In your opinion, what do you think that teachers could have done better to instruct and accommodate you? Asking as an aspiring educator. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.